Hey everyone, welcome to the reading for today. We're going to see what you guys need to know right now. Keep in mind it's general. It could be past, present, or future. You will know best how this resonates for you, okay, where this fits on your timeline. So with that being said, let's just get straight into it and see what the message is right now. What's going on right now for you guys? All right, we have the Ace of Cups first, a new beginning in love. Okay, and then we have at the bottom of the deck, the Hanged Man. All right, a moment of enlightenment. Pisces energy here. Okay, so this has to do with leaving something behind. Moving on to calmer waters, all right. A new beginning in love. And then we have the Empress here. And we have the Five of Pentacles. Something about bad health or poverty, lack mindset, being left out in the cold. Let's see what this is here. Why is the Ace of Cups here? You could have had a moment of enlightenment here to leave something behind because of someone else's bad health or someone being in bad health. Maybe that was a key moment for you. It's giving me like a key moment of seeing something clearly, seeing something for what it is, all right? The Six of Wands, the Nine of Cups, yeah, it has to do with, this is someone's happiness, all right? Personal happiness, wish fulfillment, feeling content, being victorious in a situation. All right, what's the Six of Swords? Oops. The Ace of Swords in reverse, Six of Swords in reverse, some sort of lie or no clarity, a lie, not being able to move on from something, leave something behind because of a lie. Okay, what's the Empress? The King of Wands. And the Knight of Cups. I mean, yeah, this is just kind of giving me a continuation off my last reading, maybe, all right? Why is the Five of Pentacles here? The Emperor in reverse, exactly. All right, yeah. And the World, that's what closed out the cycle. So, okay, so it's, what I'm getting here is that you were able to extend a cup of love towards someone, all right? Wanting to leave something behind. And this could have something to do with an Emperor in the reverse. So someone that was abusive, cruel, mean, a dictator, a tyrant, all right? And somebody being in bad health, closing out a cycle. A moment of enlightenment. So it's kind of like, okay, so the energy is like you, let's say you're no contact with someone, okay? You don't talk to someone, you haven't talked to someone in a long time, and you hear through maybe a third party that this person was beaten up. Five of Pentacles, maybe they were put in some sort of bad health by a dictator, tyrant, abuser, okay? So it's like you're like, okay, so I just heard that this person got beat up, all right? You know, maybe you heard that, I don't know, like the EMTs were called or they had to get some sort of medical assistance because of bad health, because of an abusive, physically violent situation, all right? So this is the kind of energy where you're like, okay, I have to get in contact with them because you hear about them being in some sort of bad health because of this person. Maybe that's when you're like, okay, time to leave something behind here, right? It's kind of like wanting to reach out to someone and contact them to see how they're doing because you just heard about some sort of a situation where they're in bad health. That could have even been done to them by someone else, right? And it's like you might have had no contact with someone for a long time here, but this might have been a moment of enlightenment or some sort of an epiphany for you, or a moment, like a key moment where you saw things differently and you're like, I need to get in contact with this person because they're in bad health, right? The High Priestess in reverse. The Ten of Swords in reverse. This has to do with you not listening, or somebody not listening to their intuition about not being betrayed, not being stabbed in the back. Okay. Yeah, so a relationship with a Page of Cups. This could be a relationship with a child. So maybe this could have something to do with grandparents as well. Parents, grandparents, family. It's giving me children, grandchildren, something like that, a relationship, right? It's really like being estranged from a family member for a long time. Maybe even to the point where, you know, there's no contact with kids or grandkids. And then hearing about someone's bad health and wanting to reach out because of this situation with health, all right? Now, this could be anything, all right? For some of you, it's like you hear someone is in bad health and it's really giving me family, okay? So some sort of bad health. It could have something to do with an abuser, all right? Or an Emperor in the reverse here, someone that did something to someone, right? Wanting to reach out. I mean, the Page of Cups could be children. It could also just be you wanting to reach out to someone and talk to someone and extend some sort of love towards someone because of something that you heard that they're going through, okay? It's kind of like, okay, so this is that energy where you haven't talked to someone in a long time. You have some sort of grievances there. You have some sort of, you know, maybe negative emotions that have built up. But as soon as you hear that there was like a medical emergency, that just dissipates immediately, right? It's like it just, nothing matters anymore but that medical emergency. It's like all of a sudden all you're doing is feeling worried. It's like all of a sudden this different feeling kicks in of worrying, right? Of wanting to reach out, of wanting to see if someone is okay, okay? And then all of a sudden it's like, you know, things that you might have felt disappointment over seem very small in comparison to some sort of a bigger emergency of health. That's what this is giving me. Okay. This has to do with a choice. The Two of Wands, a choice. To take some sort of action here. The Hierophant in reverse. What's that? Marriage in reverse, a divorce. Okay, yeah, so I feel like this is a continuation of my last reading, all right? So it's kind of like at the point where somebody is in some sort of really bad health, maybe because of another person, because of, it's giving me some sort of DV, all right? that's when it clicks to you that this person needs help getting away from this tyrant, all right? This Emperor in the reverse. It's like someone really needs help getting away from this person. Okay, and and this might be a bit more specific, all right, but so let's say you cut off contact with a family member, you haven't talked to them for a very long time. If you have kids or grandkids, they've also been separated from this family member, so nobody's seen each other for a long time. And maybe this person was isolated with an abuser. Okay. And it's kind of making me feel like the idea of, okay, look, if we can maybe reintroduce the family here, or let's say this is a grandparent, okay? Or this is your parent and you have children. Let's say it's a grandparent. And it's kind of like you hearing about your parent having a medical emergency because of who they're, married to or something like that. And you're like, okay, look, I think maybe if this person gets contact again to this child or this grandchild, or it doesn't have to be a child or grandchildren, it could just even be a relationship with you or the family. Maybe if this person has a relationship with their family again, that will help them leave this abusive person because of that feeling. I guess the idea behind it is kind of like, if this person feels so isolated and alone and they feel like they don't have anyone except for their abuser, right? Because that's sometimes the tricky thing about it as well, is like if you're in a really abusive relationship, the abuser will make you feel like you don't have anyone but them. Nobody cares about you except for them, right? Even your own family doesn't like you. It's like, you don't have anyone but me. So it makes the abused person feel like, I don't have anyone but them. So this kind of giving me that idea of like thinking, okay, so maybe if this abused victim realizes that their family is here and it's not just them and the abuser, maybe that will give the victim some sort of hope to leave this situation and then have their family there in support. It's kind of like the idea being, okay, so if you leave the abuser, it's not like you're leaving and then you're alone, but it's more like you're leaving and you're coming back to the people that love you. Okay, you're leaving a bad situation and going back towards love and care and support, right? So that's kind of like what this feels like here, the idea behind that. So the victim doesn't go from leaving the situation to, now I have no one. Now I don't have anyone. I've lost everyone, everything now. It's kind of like trying to get them out of that mindset, right? Yeah, Seven of Swords in reverse. All right, so somebody being exposed or something being seen clearly here. Oh my God, the Five of Cups and the Three of Swords. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like, look, I feel like this medical emergency, and it must have been pretty dire, all right? So it's really giving me a situation to the point where someone could have died, okay? Like someone got seriously injured in an abusive domestic violence situation here, okay? And I feel like this might have really opened your eyes as to how bad the relationship actually is. Like maybe you didn't realize, all right, so if let's say there's a family member and they're isolating themselves from you, they're defending the perpetrator, they're protecting the person all the time, and you're slowly getting cut off, and all of a sudden you no longer have contact to this family member. And maybe you didn't understand how bad it actually was, like what they were actually dealing with, because a lot of abuse goes on behind closed doors, right? So this is giving me like a medical emergency with a tyrant that's so bad that maybe even like the ambulance gets called. All right. And that can be an eye-opening moment where you realize, oh my God, I did not know that this was going on. I did not know that it was this bad. And then you have all of a sudden other family members that are coming towards you like, yeah, I never told you, but I think that they were trying to cover up a couple black eyes every now and then. And yeah, every time I saw them, they had bruises. And you're going like, what the fuck? This is like that moment where you realize all of a sudden how bad this family member is actually struggling in this relationship. Like you could have not really known how bad it was. All right. Maybe because other family members didn't talk to you about the situation, or, you know, they felt like it was kind of a lost cause. You know, it's as bad as that sounds. Sometimes that's how you feel. Like you try and talk to these kind of people in the relationship, say you need to leave, and they're like, no, 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 yeah, I'll leave when I'm ready, right? And it's like, but you're getting beat up, you know? I feel like you didn't know how bad it was until there was some sort of a bigger medical emergency. All right, so this is a bit specific for someone, but that's when you saw it for what it was, the pain and the sadness, or I mean, this could be you or the person or your family member, right? So you could have been heartbroken about what you found out. You could have been absolutely devastated and heartbroken about what was actually going on with this family member, and you never knew about it, like last person to know kind of a thing. Or it's you realizing, like I said, how bad this person's actually being treated and that they're actually being hurt, like physically, beyond just like some emotional, mental abuse. We're talking about actual injuries, right? Like life-threatening kind of a thing, okay? Yeah. 10 of Pentacles. Yeah, it could have been about someone losing a lot of money. So this fight could have broken out maybe because of the loss of an inheritance, or someone getting cut out of an inheritance, right? So let's say this is it's an Empress and an Emperor in the reverse. So this could be like mother and father, or mother and stepfather, or grandparents, all right, something like that. So this person, this Emperor in the reverse, they could have gotten cut out of an inheritance or something like that, or they got cut out of being able to live in a house or get a part of something, or, you know, they got cut off in some sort of way. And I guess them getting cut out of this inheritance or not receiving something from this Empress energy here is what caused them to blow up on someone and hurt them physically, all right? I feel like that's where it clicked for you, how dire the situation actually is. Because if an Emperor in the reverse is willing to hurt someone physically, or send them to the hospital, or hurt them to the point where it's a life-threatening situation, or someone could have died, okay? It's like, wow, all because they're not getting an inheritance. I feel like that's when you realize this person is extremely dangerous. I mean, this could even be about them not getting any money, right? They're not getting an inheritance, they're not getting money. I feel like that's when you realized that this Empress is in a pretty dire situation here. And if they're cut off from family members and they feel isolated, then it's even more dangerous. Okay. So what else? The Fool. Yeah, something about taking a leap of faith here. A new beginning. The King of Swords. The Two of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. This has to do with somebody not being able to see the truth about, what is that? Ace of Pentacles reverse. Abundance. So something wasn't seen clearly here about somebody losing an investment or losing some sort of money. getting what they want. Yeah, it has to do with, look, not dealing with someone, avoiding a conversation called person, and then healing the heartbreak, freedom from a toxic relationship. So I feel like what happened here is that you heard about something that happened to this Empress, all right, whoever that is, a family member possibly. You heard about what happened to them. You realized how bad the relationship actually is. You realize that this medical emergency came from or resulted from the fact that somebody wasn't getting part of an inheritance. That's when you realize somebody's life could actually be in danger, all right? In actual danger. So you must have gone from no contact at this point to wanting to heal this heartbreak and help this Empress free themselves from this toxic relationship. All right. Yeah, something in you changed. It was a switch. It just flipped. As soon as you heard about what happened to this person, it was like, I got it. I have to save them. I have to save them before something bad happens. That's what this feels like. It's like, I have to save them. They're in a really toxic relationship. You might have not known how toxic it was, but when you heard about it and you heard about what it was about, you know, I feel like you know exactly how dangerous this person is and what they're capable of. And maybe you even started hearing about other times where they put hands on someone or, you know, but if the ambulance is being called and it's that dire, it's like, I can't just sit around and let someone be with this person. I have to help free them from this toxic person. Like, it's like the whole family coming together being like, it's not about, do you want to stay with them anymore? It's like, you're leaving this person. They are beating you up. If you don't leave, you're going to die, kind of a thing, right? It's like, you need to wake up to who you're dealing with now. And maybe that was the point, that I feel like this was the point where you went no contact to contact. That was the point. And it might have been a long time that you had no contact with someone. It might have been a very long time that you didn't talk to someone. And when you heard, or even when you hear about somebody being abused in this way, it's like something inside you changes, especially if it's a family member. It's like you can't sit back and not want to help them, right? Because it's also that fear of like, well, if we don't help save this person, then and they stay with this abuser, then what happens to them? What if they do something horrible? What if they actually end up doing something really bad? Like, we have to do something. Like, you can't, it's almost like you can't sit there and not try. Like, you have to try and help them or save them in some sort of way. Yeah, I feel like you're like, we need to take action right now. It's like Operation Save This Person, right? Yeah, family. It's like calling up the family members and being like, all right, so we're going to save this person. All right, we're going to save this person, right? And I feel like, honestly, one big part of this is if you've been isolated from them for a long time and you've also indirectly isolated like children or grandchildren, all right, that's a lifeline. Or that might have been a lifeline for them. All right. Just like knowing that they're not losing everything and they're getting their family back and they're going to be with people that actually love them and support them might have been a lifeline. Or it might be a lifeline, depending on where this is for you. Okay. So let's see. Anything else here with this Emperor reverse? Two of Cups and the Death. So look, I don't know if this is you ending this relationship with this person in the past or the threat of whoever they're in a relationship with ending them. All right. I feel like for someone here, this is clarification more than anything. It's like, even if you haven't talked to someone in a really long time, if you hear that they just got beat up to the point of an ambulance being called, or they just got beat up and there's a medical emergency, someone could have died, that switches something within you like this. And it also, like I said, it'll make you realize what is actually going on in this relationship and how bad it actually is, and what someone is actually after here, this money, and how far somebody's actually going to go, or how angry and impulsive they are, and just how angry they are when they don't get what they want. And it's like, it's that fear that creeps in, like, oh my God, if we don't help this person, this family member out of this, this King of Wands could end up hurting someone. Like permanently ending someone because they're not getting what they want. All right. Okay. The Queen of Swords in reverse. What is that here? The Hermit in reverse. This has to do with somebody not going within, not reflecting. The Ten of Cups. This has to do with somebody being cold-hearted. Maybe this has to do with you being cold-hearted. Like you were cold-hearted to someone, you cut them off, you didn't want to talk to them anymore. You might have iced them out, turned your back on them, isolated them. And this is even like a feeling of, maybe even a feeling like maybe that was the wrong thing to do. Maybe that was the wrong thing to do, was to cut them off that way and to isolate them, because that isolation kept them in a really bad relationship like that, with feeling like they were alone, like feeling like maybe they didn't have anyone else besides this abuser. Maybe you even felt like you deserted them because you didn't really know how bad it was. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like all you want to do now is just protect them. Like all you want to do now is protect them from someone's betrayal, or from somebody doing something to them. Like even if you felt like in the past they didn't defend you or protect you from this person, this is like that moment where you realize why they didn't defend you and protect you, and maybe they just weren't capable of that because they were also being so mistreated. It's like you can't always rationalize why victims of abuse act the way that they act, because they're so because they dissociate so much, right? It's kind of like looking at the situation from a bigger perspective of why this person wasn't capable of being there for you, and that had a lot to do with who they were with and what was happening behind the scenes, and the amount of gaslighting, brainwashing, manipulation, emotional abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse that was going on. And I feel like once you realize how bad it actually is, something's going to change. Something changed within you. It changed. That you need to protect them. Maybe you felt like you want to help save them. And maybe that wasn't there. Maybe that wasn't there for a long time because you didn't see how bad it actually was. Maybe you felt betrayed by this person. Okay. you felt like they betrayed you, or they left you hanging, or they deserted you. But once you kind of see that the person that you walked away from or cut off is like, it's not that they never cared, it's more like they were just it's almost like a constant state of, like, what I'm getting is like a constant state of disassociation, like not living in reality because of the amount of gaslighting and manipulation. It's like, it's very strange to describe. Like, I don't think that anyone can really understand it unless you've experienced something similar to this, where all you're doing is kind of just like thinking about what you need to do and what's going on today, and you're not really capable of assessing things clearly anymore. I don't know. I feel like you realize with this person that they are really lost. They're really lost, and they're really not thinking as much about you, because I feel like they weren't capable of thinking about anyone because of the amount of trauma that they had going on, right? So it's like realizing that this person, they need saving. They're a victim in all this, and they're actually in danger. And I feel like you didn't realize that. Maybe you felt like someone was just being stubborn or petty or dismissive, or, like, I feel like you realized that something completely different was going on. Like, it was not what you thought it was. It was not what you thought it was, what was going on within them, okay? Or with them. A King of Cups in the reverse. The Moon. Yeah, if something was hidden about, I don't know, this person's emotional imbalance, or I don't know why that is here. Yeah, what was hidden is that, again, this is kind of giving me my first reading again. What was being hidden is that this person was being used as a human shield, or a human punching bag, a human shield to avoid conflict, so that they wouldn't get any conflict or something like that. Or they were also maybe hiding the conflict. Okay, maybe you didn't realize how bad it was because this person was not telling people how much conflict there was going on, right? Because abuse, like victims of abuse, especially when it's like physical abuse or a lot of mental, they don't want to tell people how bad it is, because they don't want to hear the same things over and over again, which is basically like people being worried about them, like you need to leave them, it's almost like, how can I explain this? It's almost like you also don't want to admit, or these people don't want to admit to themselves that they don't have control over the situation. Like okay, this is hard to describe. It's almost like you want to make yourself believe that it's not that bad, or you're not a victim. I don't know how to explain this. Well, yeah, it was kept a secret, that's for sure. Or maybe you could relate to what this person was going through because maybe you had been through something like this in the past, all right? Maybe you didn't realize that that's what it was, though, at the time. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to leave it there. The Lovers. Yeah, a relationship. Yeah, and this could be about you I feel like this is about you coming together with other people saying, we're going to help. We have to do something. We have to come up with a solution. Like we have to help somehow. Like it's kind of giving me like intervention. Like sometimes you feel like you might need to do some sort of an intervention, right? Yeah. So what's the good message here? What's the outcome of this? That's the message. That's the message about the past, all right? So that's the message. I mean, this might also just be either for you or for someone else to understand what this person went through in this relationship, or why the dynamics were so messy, or, you know, if you went no contact with them. You know, there's a lot of reasons why they might have seemed like they were okay with it, and a lot of it could have just been that they were very preoccupied with survival, or just, you know, a lot of trauma. Okay, they didn't have the strength. Yeah, strength in reverse. They didn't have the strength. They didn't have the strength. They didn't have the strength to be there for you. They didn't have the strength to protect you. They didn't have the strength to see things for what it was. It's giving me like a very desensitized, traumatized individual that's disassociated completely from how bad it actually is, and how much abuse it actually is, and how dangerous it actually is. It's like you get to a point where you're so desensitized to that it's even abuse. You know, like, for outsiders, you're looking at it going like, that is clearly abuse. And they're like, no, you know, they're only like this sometimes. It's like, you know, that's what this is. So this person didn't have the strength to be there for you because, or choose you, or, you know, turn their back on this abusive relationship because they might have felt like that's all they have, or they thought this person loved them and it was love. And maybe for a long time you were a bit, you know, resentful, or you pushed them away. You're like, fine, then we won't have a relationship. But I feel like at some point you can put that to the side and just think like, some things are more important, right? Like other things can be talked about later, but right now what's important is someone here is in danger, or they're in a really bad situation and they need help out of it. They need to get out of it. Okay? And if they can grab onto their family again, or, you know, you come out of no contact with them and they get to see other family members again, and they feel like they can now go towards people that they love, then I feel like that's a good thing, right? Yeah, so let's just see here who's involved. And then a Pisces and a father. Libra and May. A Scorpio. January and August. And at the bottom of the deck we have Aries again, okay? All right, I'm gonna leave it there. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, bye.